Hey guys, this is Zero007 here, and I just saw Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Before I get to the review, I have a little bit of a rant that I want to go on because the theater experience for when I saw Rogue Nation was not very good. Uh, First off, there was a family that came in and sat down near the front because it was a packed theater, and they had two little children. I mean, they had five children overall, but they had two little babies. And first off, you should be thinking, why would they bring two little children to Mission Impossible? But anyways, about halfway through the movie, one of the baby starts freaking out. So obviously, you're thinking, well, maybe one of the parents should take the kid out. And they went halfway with that. The father took the kid out to the little side hallway, the side entrance to the theater, and they stayed there for the rest of the movie. Not all the way out, you know, and the kid started crying, like towards the end of the movie when all the big action stuff's going on. And, oh, is the father not self-aware enough to realize that everyone in the theater can hear all that? Anyways, and then also I had a person behind me who kept tapping his foot fairly loudly, and I had to turn around and give him a couple of looks every once in a while. And I should have only had to do it once, but I had to do it like several times to get him to stop because he kept doing it over and over again. I guess maybe out of habit or something. But anyways, long story short, if you're going to the theater, please, you're in a social environment. Please be courteous to others. Okay? Just try and keep like the volume down. And if you have little children, take them to go see Pixels or Minions or something that's not PG-13 or above. With a lot of people that are there to see like action, they don't want a little kid crying throughout the whole thing. It drives me nuts when people do that. I never understand. Like, just go see. There are plenty of kids movies out right now. Just go take them to those. But all right. Anyway, I promised myself I would not let these annoyances bother me, or well, of course they bother me, but I wouldn't let them affect the review. So here it goes. This is. Taking all that into account, these are my thoughts on Rogue Nation. Overall, the movie's all right. It's good, not great for me. I watched all the other Mission Impossibles recently, and originally, I don't know if I've said this before on the channel. I may have said it on the Mission Impossible 2 video. 3 and 4 are kind of in flux for me. Sometimes I like 3 more than Ghost Protocol. Sometimes it's the other way around. And I realized the only reason I really like 3 a whole lot is Philip Seymour Hoffman is the villain. He's the best villain any of these Mission Impossible movies has ever had, including this one. But I think if I'm taking in all the elements of a Mission Impossible movie, Ghost Protocol is still my favorite. This might be tied for Mission Impossible 3 for like the second spot. I guess I'll go ahead and start off with the positives before I get into the things that really keep me from enjoying it as much as a lot of people seem to be. The action sequences, of course, Tom Cruise is doing all his own stunts. They do a lot of practical effects, and it's all great. In terms of action movies this summer, this movie has the best action sequences, second only to Mad Max Fury Road, and I don't think any movie really planned on beating that in terms of action. But the action sequences are impressive. They're worth the price of admission alone. And I guess the other main positive would be the cast. Tom Cruise is great as Ethan Hunt, as always. Jeremy Renner, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, they're all great. And then Rebecca Ferguson, she's the main female lead. Who is this woman? She kind of just came out of nowhere, and she's a badass in this movie. I really enjoyed her character, and I hope she shows up in future movies. The Mission Impossible franchise seems to kind of have a problem with having the female leads of each movie coming back. Before this movie came out, everybody was like, where's Paula Patton? And I don't know, maybe she'll show up in another movie as well. But yeah, the cast is all great. Alec Baldwin was enjoyable. Yeah, those are the main positives. There are a few things holding the movie back for me in terms of why I'm not loving it as much as everybody else seems to be. It has like a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. That might be a little bit high, I think. The villain is better than the one in Ghost Protocol. I think the bad guy in Ghost Protocol is the weakest of any of the Mission Impossible villains thus far. This guy's all right. They tried to build like a personal conflict between him and Ethan Hunt. That's I didn't really feel any emotion toward. I mean, it was fine, but like I said, the Philip Seymour Hoffman, him as the villain in Mission Impossible 3, like that relationship with him and Ethan Hunt, that had a lot of tension to it, and I really felt the emotion there. This one, fine, serviceable. He is a bit more to do than the one in Ghost Protocol. That one's just like generic bad guy who wants to blow the world up because he's crazy. This one had more motivations. Very good actor. I didn't even recognize him. I recognized him by his voice. He's one of the scientists that gets attacked by that snake creature in Prometheus. The only way I could tell was his voice. He looks completely different. I think in Prometheus he's like tons of facial hair and he has like a mohawk. If you know who I'm talking about, he ends up like becoming zombified in Prometheus. Spoilers. I wish these movies would focus on bringing back, bigger villains. That way, especially if you're trying to build like this personal grudge with Ethan Hunt. I feel the emotion there because I really hate this guy and I really want to see Tom Cruise take him out. Also, I feel like as much as I enjoyed a lot of the cast, and the cast is one of my positives, it's also kind of a weakness of the movie because many of them are underutilized. And this goes back to a problem that Mission Impossible has had for a while, except for Ghost Protocol, where it's more of a Tom Cruise vehicle. It is not a team type of movie. Not to say that there's not like team moments where Jeremy Renner, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Tom Cruise, not to say that they don't work together. But for a lot of the movie, it's just Tom Cruise doing things. Maybe like Simon Pegg or Rebecca Ferguson backing him up. I think that's why I like Ghost Protocol. The team dynamic there worked really well, and that's one of the big strengths of Ghost Protocol. And it's just kind of missing here. Jeremy Renner, it's almost a cameo for him. He's in the movie maybe 10, 15 minutes. Because he's mostly just doing like diplomatic stuff or just debating with Alec Baldwin back at Washington, D.C. I don't know, he doesn't really get a whole lot to do in the movie. And then Ving Rhames. I love Ving Rhames. I love how he's in every single one of these movies, but you probably could have just written him out. He's not very critical to the plot, other than he does a couple of computer techie stuff. He's not very essential to what's going on in the story, and which is a shame because I really wanted to see all these characters utilized, to their full potential. But I don't know. In that respect, it kind of takes a step back from Ghost Protocol. Yeah. And also, probably my final complaint of the movie is that it's a little bit too long. I think it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes, which, by most movies today, that's not very long at all. Most movies today are like 2.5 hours or 3 hours, or we got to be super long because that's what the highest grossing movies are. They're really long movies, really long epics. But I don't know. This one, I felt like it dragged a bit in places. And in some ways, it felt like an amalgamation of different plot elements and characters and events that happened in the previous movies, just kind of mixed together into one movie itself. And specifically, I'm thinking of the first Mission Impossible movie, which kind of has a convoluted plot in it. If you go back and watch it, it's a little bit convoluted, and that's kind of a problem here as well. There were several scenes where I was going, wait, whose motivation is what? Because there's triple crosses and there's double agents, triple agents. That there's constantly switching sides. Like, I don't know whose motivation is what. And then I'm constantly going, wait, hold on a sec. Just pause. Let me figure this out. And why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Who's there? I was doing that a lot during the movie, which may just mean that I need to watch the movie again. It probably all makes sense. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt here. I'm not gonna say they're like plot holes or anything, but this isn't a Christopher Nolan movie where I need to watch it, 2 or 3 times to really have it sink in. It's a Mission Impossible movie. I'm supposed to have fun. like I said, some of the twists are nice. You know, triple crosses and stuff. That's fine, but they do it a lot in this movie. And if you taken some of those elements out of the movie, maybe simplify it, streamline it just a little bit, more like Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol is actually very simple when you watch it again. Yeah, if you just streamlined it a bit more, I think the movie would have been a lot better for it. But overall, I didn't hate the movie. Don't get me wrong. The movie's still great. It's a great action movie. Overall, I'd give it a B, like a solid B. It's a fun time at the movies. It knows exactly what it is, and it's just trying to be that. You know, other than maybe a little bit too convoluted of a plot, but it's a lot of fun, and it's actually a lot more comedic than I expected. Although then again, when you're having a congressional hearing scene where people are actually saying they're actually saying the name of IMF, the Impossible Mission Force, we're not exactly dealing with, you know, strictly in the rules of reality here. Okay, it's a little goofy, it's a little ridiculous. I think the Mission Impossible series, it's a lot like the Fast and Furious movies, except I think they're a little bit smarter, but it's like the same exact thing. We're having a lot of fun with these characters, these awesome action sequences. Things are a little bit over the top and ridiculous, but, you know, you're just supposed to be here to have a good time. You're not supposed to be overthinking everything like I tend to do with a lot of movies. But overall, yeah, I totally recommend the movie. Like I said, for the action sequences alone, it's totally worth it. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's not my favorite Mission Impossible movie. It probably falls like right in the middle. You know, because there's only 5 movies. Not a whole lot of range there for me to be able to rank the movies. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I would definitely recommend it. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Give him a couple of looks every once in a while. And I should have only had to do it once, but I had to do it like several times to get him to stop, because he kept doing it over and over again. I guess maybe out of habit or something. But anyways, long story short, if you're going to the theater, please, you're in a social environment. Please be courteous to others. Okay? Hey guys, this is Zero007 here, and I just saw Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Before I get to the review, I have a little bit of a rant that I want to go on, because the theater experience for when I saw Rogue Nation was not very good. First off, there was a family that came in, starts freaking out. So obviously you're thinking, well, maybe one of the parents should take the kid out. And they went halfway with that. The father took the kid out to the little side hallway, the side entrance to the theater, and they stayed there for the rest of the movie. Not all the way out, you know, and the kid and sat down near the front because it was a packed theater, and they had 2 little children. I mean, they had 5 children overall, but they had 2 little babies. And first off, you should be thinking, why would they bring 2 little children to Mission Impossible? But anyways, about halfway through the movie, one of the babies started crying, like towards the end of the movie when all the big action stuff's going on. And is the father not self-aware enough to realize that everyone in the theater can hear all that? Anyways, and then also I had a person behind me who kept tapping his foot fairly loudly, and I had to turn around and